governance is a self-governing network, which we have also asked once. So we have asked two different, let's say, questions related to governance. Then there will be questions related to good governance, governance paradigm. So, since this question is giving emphasis on process side, let's say self-governing network, it gives process. So simply we can start that governance, governance is a process or a phenomenon to solve the problems of society or to improve the quality of governance, to improve the quality of services. That way means you should give emphasis on the process side. Right. Governance is a process and phenomenon, right, which aims at improving the quality of service of the government, efficiency and performance, or improving the quality of life of people. This. So, one-liner, let's say, introduction we can, let's say, introduce. Then again, let's say that when you write about body part, then the basics, let's say that. The basics will be the same. That's why once you know the basics of that concept, it helps you in writing that answer. If you do not know the basics, every time you are troubled. Generally, let's say that we teach, structuring, like first we write introduction, then in body part we'll say that you write basics, and after basics then you come on the question. The question what demands this. Now, there is a risk that basics should be written like basic, not should be written like, let's say that main part of the answer. It should be very short, depending on 10 mark, 15 mark, 20 mark, like this. It's not that basic keep writing 1.5 page. This. The basics must necessarily be written to bring coherence in the answer. If you are not writing this one and just you start writing this, it results into lack of coherence in the answer. And then answer will be considered more at surface level, having means lacking the basic aspect of the question, and it also tests the basic understanding of the person, whether the person has knowledge about those basic aspects or not. The basics will remain same, that governance came to be conceptualized during 1990s on the basis of the World Bank reports in 1989, 1992. In which it defined governance, the same definition, it defined governance, and it also gave the components of governance. This. So, this can be, let's say, the basic aspect, which can be linked to 89, which can be linked to 1992. This. Then we can come on this. Since it is about self-governing, you have to prove that how it is self-governing. Right. So, governance is considered different from government, because government is more like as an institution, but governance is more like a process. The governance indicates a process, not an institution, right? And this process is led by various stakeholders. There are various stakeholders. This institution is led by, let's say, administration. Its main aim is to exercise authority. Its main aim is to solve problems. So, when there are stakeholders, there is a formation of network. There is a formation of network. It can be like this. Right, public, private, civil society organization. This basically it is a top-down approach. Although we don't have to write this, I am writing just for comparison, but this you have to focus on this, how it is self-governing network. Right. So self-governing network because it gives emphasis on process. Now in this, let's say process, let's say community, let's say that community members, let's say participation can be at various level. So there can be different types of groups, and those groups, let's say that basically why we are forming those groups, so that people can govern themselves, right? It is about, already now you know that this is about sharing power. It is about sharing power. And why we are sharing power? Because people can govern themselves. People can govern themselves. Like even if you take in this minimum government, maximum governance, right? So what is maximum governance? Maximum governance is that it is trying to give more and more autonomy to people so that people can govern themselves. The government, by becoming minimum, it is trying to give people maximum, means they should govern themselves. So that's why let's say they are given more and more autonomy. So governance, when let's say there are participation of different groups etc., so this becomes, it assumes a character of self-governing network, right? Because people are themselves trying to solve the problems. Like you can give any, or we can take any example, let's say that at local level, let's say Panchayati Raj institutions. So PRIs, at local level they have been given autonomy. Now PRIs are forming networks with self-help groups. They are forming networks with civil society organizations. They are forming networks with other workers. It can be, let's say that ASHA workers, others. So at local level, there is a formation of network, and they are trying to govern themselves at local level. So community level governance, local level governance in urban areas, in rural areas, you will find that governance has resulted, the governance idea has resulted into more and more groups formation, and those more and more group formations are becoming more autonomous in nature to solve the problems, right? Even the good example you can see, although it is a local example, another better example you can say that Gati Shakti. Gati Shakti example. So Gati Shakti is, let's say that formation of an online portal, and this online portal is having, let's say that 16 ministry departments, 16 ministry departments plus, let's say that experts in respective fields, then let's say that civil society members, or let's we can consider that those concerned persons. And it is promoting hands-on management, hands-on governance approach. Hands-on governance. Now, why government has created Gati Shakti? It has created Gati Shakti so that all those is area, let's say that experts can play their role in solving the problem of the government. Problems should not be solved only by the government departments. Rather we can bring, let's say, all those needed expertise in any area. It can be civil society, it can be academician, it can be corporate. So Gati Shakti is a platform which can bring all those, let's say, varieties of people together on one platform. Then they will form various types of groups, and those groups will be trying to help solve the problem. Problem is related to implementation of all the railway projects on time. Its main concern is to deliver the projects on time. So far government is not able to deliver the projects on time, it faces lots of hurdles. And it is thinking that if we follow this hands-on governance approach, it will be able to deliver the projects on time. So it is what it has given. It has given autonomy to them. Now they are self-governing. What is self-governing? The government has not formed their groups. In Gati Shakti, it has not formed their groups. Rather, it has told that you can form yourself groups. Various different types of groups you can form, and let's say those groups can take the task related to the policy implementation challenges of railway projects. So it will become self-governing type. Hence, governance has, let's say, assumed a character of self-governing. Right. That is what you have to prove. It means that without a good example, it is difficult to prove this question. And when Gati Shakti was launched in newspaper, the headline was this: Gati Shakti as hands-on governance. In fact, CEO of Niti Aayog has also written an article on Gati Shakti. Those articles are not published in generally newspaper. They are published at their own places. So if you read, we have already asked hands-on governance basically in paper second. It is also a good example for, let's say, that various places, not at this place. It will come again and again as a good example. So but then again we have to say, this is what it is saying, elucidate. This elucidate means you have to make it clear by example. So whenever the command you have elucidate, the first thing is that you don't have to criticize it. Elucidate does not demand criticism. First. Second, it depends on, means it's let's say that quality of answer in elucidate command depends on how better example you write. And example writing is must. Without example writing, we cannot prove it. How it is self-governing, and that is how it should have been written, right?